I stood behind the half-open doorway of my parents' living room, the one I hadn't been welcomed into for nearly a decade, listening to them brag about a victory they didn't earn. My mother's voice cut through the room like the smug ring of a silver spoon. Let's wait here before we continue. Please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and also drop your comment below. Let's continue. We paid off the house, she said, dropping the words with a dramatic sigh. Some people just don't manage their lives well, but we've always been responsible. Hard workers, you know. Their friends clapped. My father puffed his chest like a man who'd climbed Everest instead of drowning in overdue notices last month. Someone asked, "How did you do it so fast?" My father took a sip of his drink, pretending humility, discipline, good planning, not relying on children. The room laughed. And there it was, the punch to the throat. The mortgage they were bragging about. I paid it anonymously, on purpose, as part of the revenge I'd been building for years. My jaw tightened until my teeth hurt. I wasn't angry. I'd expected this. I needed this. Their arrogance was the last ingredient. I stepped back from the door. My name is Adam Pierce *, and this is how I dismantled the people who raised me. The night everything snapped, I was 19. My parents had invited relatives and neighbors over for a celebration dinner for my brother, who's always been their prize pig at the county fair. He had just won another academic award. I had just finished a 12-hour shift at a grocery store. I sat at the table, silent, tired, trying not to smell like the freezer section. My mother started telling everyone about my brother's future in politics, his scholarships, his brilliance. Then she looked at me. No smile, just disappointment wrapped in decorative napkins. "And then there's Adam," she said, as if announcing someone's arrest. The whole table turned. He barely scraped through high school, still doesn't know what he wants, wanders from job to job. Honestly, he's a disgrace to this family. The room went dead quiet. My fork dropped. My father added, maybe if he acted like a real man instead of wasting time. "Dad," I whispered, but he cut me off. "Don't talk back, real men accept the truth." Heat crawled up my neck, my chest tightened. My brother pretended not to hear, staring at his plate like he didn't want second-hand embarrassment. I excused myself from the table. My mother's voice followed me. "C walks away when life gets hard, not surprising." And that was the moment something broke loose inside me, quietly, silently, like a fuse burning inward. Later that night, my father knocked on my door, 2 firm knocks, no pause. "We're done supporting you, Adam." I sat on the edge of my bed, still wearing the same work uniform. "You have 30 minutes to pack." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. He didn't laugh. My mother appeared behind him with a trash bag. "We're trying to run a respectable home. You're dragging us down." They weren't shouting. Somehow, the calmness made it worse. My father pointed at the bag. "Clothes only. Everything else you bought with our money stays." I swallowed the sting. Where am I supposed to go? "That's your problem now." They walked away. I packed the bag, walked out, and not a single person stopped me. Not my parents, not my brother, not anyone from that dinner. The porch light flicked off behind me. That was my goodbye. For 2 years, I bounced from couch to couch, friends, co-workers, a guy I barely knew who needed help with rent. I slept with my bag as a pillow, always ready to move again. But those years were the first time I started thinking clearly. Every humiliation became a lesson. Every rejection became a push. Every insult became fuel. I worked any job I could get, warehouse labor, landscaping, part-time construction cleanup, and slowly I started gravitating toward the one thing that felt right, building things. Not for my parents. Not for their approval. For me. I met him by accident, a quiet old contractor named Joel Tanner who owned a small renovation company. I helped him load lumber at the hardware store, and we started talking. He needed extra hands. I needed a purpose. Working with Joel was the first time I felt competent. He saw me pay close attention to how he measured, how he cut, how he planned a job with precision instead of panic. "You're good at this," he said once. No one in my family had ever used those words for me. Joel taught me everything: carpentry, electrical basics, plumbing fundamentals, budgeting, customer relationships. He taught me how to build a home. And slowly, I began building myself. By 26, I was running my own small renovation business, Pierce Homeworks, quiet, ethical, honest. I saved relentlessly. I took pride in every job, from a cracked deck board to a full kitchen remodel. Funny thing, my business grew mostly by word of mouth, something my father always said wasn't possible for someone like me. But I never reached out to them. Never called. Never checked in. Silence was its own revenge. Yet the story wasn't over. Not even close. I heard it from a former neighbor who ran into me at the hardware store. "Your parents are drowning," he said casually. "Mortgage behind, house repairs overdue, but you know them, they'd rather die than admit it." My eyebrows lifted. They're that far behind. Months, probably 6, but they keep hosting barbecues like nothing's wrong. Arrogant to the end. I should have felt satisfaction. Instead, I felt opportunity. A spark. Not of anger, strategy. I spent that night at my drafting table, staring at my budget spreadsheets. Paying off their mortgage was possible. Barely, but possible. Should I? No. Logically, no. Emotionally, hell no. But revenge isn't always about destruction. Sometimes the deepest cut is letting people reveal who they really are. If my parents suddenly won something, if fortune dropped in their lap, they'd brag, they'd gloat, they'd build a tower of arrogance so tall it would collapse under its own weight. All I had to do was tip the first brick. I opened my laptop and typed, "Anonymous mortgage payoff inquiry." The bank gave me the payoff total: $187,442. It felt like swallowing glass. But I wired it. Every dollar. Every cent. My finger hovered before I clicked confirm, but not out of regret, out of anticipation. When I hit the button, a chill ran through me. Not victory. Not pride. Something colder. Sharper. Calculated. 2 days later, I got the text from an unknown number. "Did you pay your parents' mortgage?" It was my old neighbor, the same one who told me they were behind. I texted back, "No, why? They're telling everyone the bank made a mistake and credited their account. Huge chunk wiped out. They're acting like they deserve it." I sat back in my chair. Perfect. Exactly what I needed them to do. Word spread fast. Suddenly, my parents were parading around town, telling everyone about their good fortune. My mother said things like, "We live clean, God rewards responsibility." My father added, "Some people fall apart, we rise, always have." It was like watching 2 actors perform in a play they didn't rehearse for but desperately wanted applause from. They started buying things. New furniture. Designer clothes. A fancy grill my father couldn't afford before. They were building their downfall brick by brick. For the first time in 7 years, I drove back to their neighborhood. I didn't go to see them. I went to see the street. The house. The world that rejected me. As I parked, I saw my mother outside, waving at a neighbor, showing off her new watch. She looked happy, but not the kind of happiness that comes from peace. The kind that comes from lying. I was standing near their driveway, supposedly measuring a job for a neighbor, when I overheard it, my mother bragging. "All our sacrifices paid off," she told a woman who used to glare at me when I rode my bike too fast. "Your children should learn from ours. We raised them right. One's successful, the other, well, we don't talk about him." I clenched my jaw. A tiny part of me felt that old sting. But mostly, confirmation. 2 weeks later, I got a message request on Facebook. From my brother. "Hey man, been a long time. Mom and Dad want to see you. Think it's time to reconnect." I stared at the message. They didn't want me. They wanted an audience. Or maybe they sensed the community whispering. People were starting to ask how they did it. This would be the next phase of my plan. I entered their house for the first time in nearly a decade. My mother hugged me, but it felt like being wrapped in cold wax. My father shook my hand like he was interviewing me. "You're looking healthy," he said, which for him meant better than I expected. I sat at their kitchen table, noticing all the new renovations. Ironically, some of the work looked like my style, my techniques, my trademarks. My father poured coffee. "So," he said casually, "you probably heard about the house." I nodded, "Yeah, impressive." He sat back smug, "Hard work pays off." "Sure it does," I almost said. My brother pulled me aside later. "Mom says it was divine intervention," he whispered. "And Dad? He's been telling people the bank made an accounting error and fixed it because they felt sorry for an old veteran." My father wasn't a veteran. Not even close. This was better than I imagined. Their stories weren't just arrogant, they weren't aligned. Cracks. Neighbors started asking questions. How did the bank make a mistake that big? Why haven't they gotten paperwork? Why would God bless them of all people? Their bragging made people suspicious. My parents didn't notice. But I did. Their downfall was beginning. This was twist number 1. My mother called me, breathless with panic. "The bank sent a letter," she shouted. "What kind of letter?" "A confirmation of the payoff, but it says anonymous third-party payment. People will think we're lying." I forced concern into my voice. "That's complicated." My father yelled in the background, "Why isn't there a mistake? Why isn't the payment called an adjustment?" They were terrified. And they should be. My brother texted me later. They're blaming each other. Mom says Dad lied. Dad says Mom bragged too much. It's chaos. I let the message sit. Then he added, "You don't know this, but they told everyone you cut ties with the family because you couldn't handle responsibility, made them look virtuous. You were their scapegoat for everything." My chest tightened. Some wounds never fully heal, but this time it didn't break me. It motivated me. The church small group meeting became a battlefield. My parents arrived ready to explain their miracle story again, but someone asked the wrong question. "Why does this letter say someone else paid it?" My mother froze. My father stuttered. Another person asked, "Why did you say the bank fixed an error? That's not what this says." Then, "Are you lying?" They melted, publicly, right there in front of the same people who once praised them. They called me again. "Adam," my father said, voice shaking, Did you have anything to do with this?" Time stopped. This was the moment. Not the reveal. Just the pivot. "I don't know what to tell you," I said calmly, "but maybe be honest with people." My mother shrieked, "We can't, they'll think we're pathetic." They already do, I thought, but didn't say. They deserved this moment. Weeks passed. Their reputation collapsed slowly, like a rotting barn. Neighbors whispered behind their backs. Church members stopped inviting them to dinners. People they once bragged to now saw them as frauds. And my parents blamed everyone but themselves. The beauty of it. I still never revealed the truth. They destroyed themselves without my help. Then came twist number 2. The bank flagged unusual spending patterns after the payoff. The new furniture, the grill, the designer clothes. And because they'd been late on payments before, the bank suspected hidden income. They were audited. Their finances were ripped open. They had nothing to hide except irresponsibility. But that was enough. Their credit tanked. Their savings evaporated. Their social image died. All without me lifting a finger. While they flailed, my business was booming. I bought a warehouse. Hired a small team. Expanded to full renovations, not just repairs. People trusted me. People respected me. Everything they said I'd never become, I became. One job, one client, one early morning at a time. I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving. And I did it without exploiting anyone. Months later, I drove past their house again. No parties. No bragging. No audience. My mother sat on the porch, tired, smaller than I remembered. My father watered dead plants. They didn't see me. I didn't stop. Not out of spite. Out of closure. They lost everything because they couldn't stop lying. I gained everything because I learned to build. I drove away knowing one thing deeply. Some people earn revenge not by fighting back, but by rising so high, the people who tried to break them collapse under the weight of their own arrogance. And I never looked back.